Welcome to another topic today. And so we have Lisa joining us, and both her and I have some interesting things that we're going to be covering.
Mm,
So, our topic today is sex and Christianity.
mm,
There are several things that I have heard in the church, and then there are patients that I have seen
mhm,
that have questions about what they can do and not do being a Christian in a church.
mhm,
I remember one of my patients had a catheter and had to go through the process,
mhm,
um, and was a little depressed
mhm.
because he's saying, I love my wife, but there's nothing that I can do.
Right.
And so I was in a real deep thought after something he said to me. I said, well, I'm sure that you can still hug your wife
Mhm,
and kiss your wife. You guys can cuddle,
mhm,
and whatever happens from there happens. And he kind of hung his head down and he said, but the church frowns on certain things.
mm.
And I remember driving away wondering to myself, the church frowns on certain things. I wonder what his thought process was.
Well,
you know, and
well,
it is imbalanced.
yes,
Excuse me.
yes.
It is imbalanced because then the pastor will say
Mhm,
that there's certain things you're not supposed to be doing.
mhm.
And then you are suddenly losing people as
Got
they
it.
walk on out of the church,
Mhm,
right? Because
mhm,
we know that it
mhm.
is best to be married
Yes.
before you explore.
Mhm,
However,
mhm.
and then they leave,
Yes.
you know? So,
Yes.
what is your take on all of that?
Well, mm,
Excuse me.
for me, I everything for me, everything is comes from the Word of God. Bible. Someone said that Bible is biblical instruction before exiting or something like that. But Christianity, I believe more in being a disciple than the Christianity. That's the balance thing for me. And the Word of God says that the marriage bed is undefiled. So if you are married, and how candid can we be on this show because we
Be as
grown?
candid as you
Okay.
want to be.
The marriage bed is undefiled. And if you and your spouse, whatever goes on in that undefiled bed, Jesus goes on the shelf. Because
Explain that one
uh,
for me.
I'm okay. My husband and I have been married 38 years, and we've been together for almost 6 decades. And of course, we got married super young, and we did have premarital sex. I was, what, 17. You're not supposed to. We know what the word says, but teens going to do what they're going to do. And we did. However, we did get married. And my mother made sure that we went to a teaching church that taught the word of God and not what man think. Okay. So the word of God does says that the marriage bed is undefiled. Now that doesn't mean if my wife and my husband agree to bring somebody else in,
See, now
that ain't what it says.
that.
That's why I say, how candid can we be?
Right.
That's not what it says. It says a man and a woman.
Exactly.
So I don't see us in a bedroom with Christian music playing while we're having intimate relations with our spouses. I mean, that's ridiculous to me. So I truly believe, relations anyway was created by the Lord for the process of having children and for the process of intimacy and enjoying one another. So, but as to your point with the man with the catheter, I had that situation myself. So I can understand what he meant, the intimacy. I think women get it before men. No shade our brothers out there, but I think it comes in the mind and the spirit first. If my mind is there, you got me. The equipment is not always going to be there because we get older, we change,
Exactly.
we evolve.
Exactly.
You know, so what do we have when the equipment stop working? So when we have these conversations with some pastors, it's a little uncomfortable, but you got to go back to the Word of God. It's not hard. Yes. It's very simple, but I think it's harder for men than it is for the women. Again, how candid can we be? They have a stick. We have all kind of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? When the stick stops working, sometimes a male from experience, and my husband would say, oh, put his head down. But like you said, they're still hugging, kissing, snuggling. But again, as you age, I'm hot. I'm going through menopause. I can't be snuggled up with you. The husband will say, hey, my arm going to sleep. I can't sleep with you laying on my arm all the time. We go through things. But as disciples, as Christians, I just believe that, again, the marriage bed is undefiled. And I feel ashamed and quite angry at some pastors that speak what they feel versus what the Word of God says.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a situation that I have seen. You have to be married if you want to have sex. So all of a sudden, we're looking at a relationship that's broken. Because while two people may have visited that church, stayed, and that is their church, they're together. There are many couples living together that is not married. And I'm not saying that the Bible lies by any means, but this is a lot of time what happened. And then that is the realization that most likely for the woman, she is hoping he'll ask.
Yeah.
But what I have seen, he doesn't ask.
Yeah.
You know, so then you have the situation where the relationship is broken and it's a few.
Absolutely.
You know, so what do you think of a situation like that when it comes to building that bond enough that you don't, because you are thinking that there isn't going to be any sexual activity, that you can still withstand, you know, and go through it until that date is set if you decided that's the person that you want to be married to.
Got it. Well, my take on that is, number one, it goes back to we have to have a relationship with the Lord. And if we don't, we have to stop putting expectations on people. When we put expectations on others, we're setting ourselves up. And I know a lot of women, I'm a woman, and so I'm going to speak from a woman perspective. I know a lot of women, if you give the milk away and keep giving the milk away, they're not going to want the cow. And unfortunately, it's that. And then you're having children.
That's a whole other thing.
I mean, you're ready-made family. And I mean, I talk to people all the time, especially men. You know, well, hey, I can have 3 or 4 families. You know, he's given the liberty to do that because someone is not holding him accountable.
Exactly.
For, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. Let's make some grown-up decisions. We're just everywhere, you know. So, and that's, I believe that the brokenness it's already broken when you come together like that. It's broke. It's almost defeated. But I do know that the Lord can make broken things beautiful.
Going back to something that you said, one of the things that you mentioned is about being there,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Where is your focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are together,
Mm-hmm.
you're now coming to church because you want to be in church, you
Mm-hmm.
want to find a church, this is your church home, so on and so forth, and
Mm-hmm.
you move on. However, are you really praising God? Are you really where you're supposed to be? Because God
Mm-hmm.
is supposed to be first,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, yeah. Well, for me, I can just speak for me and a lot of people I've spoken to. A lot of people choose the church when we should always pray first. God, am I potted or am
Exactly.
I planted?
Mm-hmm.
We know with pots, we grow. We have to keep switching pots. I
Mm-hmm.
call it church hopping. Okay. But when we're planted, we grow roots. And if you're not in a teaching church that's teaching the word of God,
Mm-hmm.
then you're just going to be going to church to be going to church. The church won't be in you. You're just going to church.
And that's what makes it so difficult because if you are just going to church
Mhm.
so you can say, yes, I go to church, then basically the relationship isn't going to last anyway because it's not
Right.
rooted in
Hmm.
God.
And what is that teaching the children that comes out of these relationships?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a cycle. It's a
Yeah.
cycle,
I
you
mean,
know.
the reality of that, and
Hmm.
I've seen this,
Hmm.
children grow up
Yes.
and you don't have to tell them anything because they start putting that story together,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
So, well, that's an interesting take. One of the things that I have looked at is how when a couple is together and they're going to be getting married,
Hmm.
supposedly,
Hmm.
the interference that comes in between, of course, they're getting counseling from hopefully from their pastor,
Hmm.
but the interference
Hmm.
in between and, well, you can't be doing this, or I thought I saw you here doing this,
Hmm.
it really takes toll on
Hmm.
some people. And that's not really the most godly way of speaking to a couple anyway. Oh, I
Right.
saw them coming out of here or going there or
Right.
doing whatever, right?
Right. Hmm.
So, what exactly would be your position walking in?
Hmm.
Would you feel comfortable
Hmm.
having a word?
Oh yes. That's one thing I believe as a disciple of God. Uncomfortable is not in my wheelhouse. For me, we can talk about anything because you're going to get the word of God. And the word of God stings because the truth is his standard. It stings. But the decision is ours. He gives us choice. What you choose, regardless of what that is, you have to live with that. That's going to come with good. That's going to come with not so good. That's going to come with bad.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about it is, God is always open and ready to receive you back.
Exactly. But I think a lot of people, they fail to recognize that
Yeah.
because they're already guilty
Mm-hmm.
for slightly stepping away or perhaps not
Mm-hmm.
making God be number one,
Mm-hmm.
having something or something else ahead of. And
Mm-hmm.
I see that downfall as well,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You mentioned guilt.
mm-hmm.
That seems to be the greatest destroyer in some churches. People are, when they know the word of God, even if they don't know the word of God, that self-righteous spirit of judging one another and telling them, I saw you. You're not supposed to be doing this. I'm going to make it real simple. When you pointing the finger at somebody else, you got three fingers pointing back at yourself.
You can only imagine the half.
So I just believe we're in this world. Reality is set in, and things are going to happen, but we have to stop being, as disciples and Christians, so judgy and throwing stones when we know good and well that we have done some things that we don't want nobody to know. So it's confusing to couples, to especially young couples. They get confused. And then when confusion comes in, chaos comes in. And I call them the sisters: chaos, confusion, and calamity. You know, all that comes in because they're not getting the truth. And even if they're getting the truth, they're not getting understanding in the conversation.
Yes.
Because we have to meet people where they are.
That's true.
Yeah.
You have to focus on discipling. You have to focus on mentoring, and not just for a week or a month, you know, especially with the younger couples, you know. But, well, this has been an enjoyable, conversation.
Yes.
I know that there's a few questions I actually had received, but I'm going to save them because I think that you and I should meet again.
Sure.
And we can go through the questions and answer them.
Sure. It would be my pleasure.
Some of them are very interesting.
Okay.
But we'll save them for the next segment.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ann. My pleasure.
So once again, we're going to wrap up until next time for some more juicy topics. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome.